welcome to Lent Devotional Day 44. I hope everyone's been having a great Lent season so far. And let us just continue praising God as we approach this last week of the Lent season, especially amidst this very uncertain time. Today's passages will be taken from Leviticus chapter 2 and Matthew chapter 22. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys to go and read that and pause the video right now. I hope you guys pause the video right now. We're going to go ahead and now that you guys have read it, we're going to go over what these two chapters go into. And so Leviticus, if you're like me, you don't like reading it just because it's a lot of rules and it's a very hard read to get through. But beneath the text of chapter 2 is something very beautiful. The grain offering itself is a bloodless offering. The society was filled with farmers, so the grain offering was very pertinent. It was something that was benefiting all men, the grain, and it was also the grain itself is also something that the poor could give as an offering. So it was a very universal offering, which made it very appropriate to give to God. There's two very important symbols here that connects to the rest of the passages that we are going to go over today, and that is, if you look in verse 5 through 7, you see the presence of oil, and oil is actually really cool here because it is a image of the Holy Spirit that we can see very much be alive in this passage. Oil is binding with the flour, and without the oil, the material doesn't really burn the way it's supposed to in the offering. And so the oil is very much necessary. In the same way, we can actually apply this to what we'll see in the rest of in Matthew 22, where we must be in step with the Holy Spirit. We must be abiding by the Holy Spirit. We must let the Holy Spirit lead us. And then the same way that the Holy Spirit is binding and burning within this grain. Secondly, another important thing is one of the very cool things about grain offerings is this is something that was made within homes. This is something that was very much focused on. There's a very specific way of going about it, and pretty much along with the Holy Spirit, you have to put in your entire heart when offering these things to the Lord. And that goes with almost every offering, but this one specifically, your heart must very much be within it. It's very intimate, it's very intricate of a process. So with that being said, let's just turn to Matthew 22. We're going over the parable of the wedding feast specifically, and I want to quickly read over the last 4 verses of that parable. But when the king came in to look at the guests, he saw a man who had no wedding garment. And he said to the friend, "How did you get in here without a wedding garment?" And he was speechless. And then, as you know, this guy was thrown out, just like he was supposed to. What does this mean? Why are we throwing out people at the wedding? It's kind of the same reason why what God kind of calls us to do within the offering section of Leviticus. The man's heart, this man that he threw out, after many people had rejected the invitation, many people had come on the last invitation with their wedding garment except for this man. And this man, why was he thrown out? Because his heart was not there to celebrate the bride and the bridegroom. Not at all. He was there only in appearance, but not in heart. And that's something that God takes very, very seriously, is where your heart is. Those offerings, they were intricate and they were intimate, but your heart had to be in there. That's why we walk with the Holy Spirit in this. In this setting of the parable, you see the same exact thing. This man wasn't there with his heart to celebrate. He wasn't there giving praise. He was only there for whatever the outside reason. It's kind of how sometimes we go to the weddings to just go for the food. That's me sometimes. And that's pretty much what we're getting at. And this can actually be very much summed with verse 37 of Matthew chapter 22. And he said to them, "You shall love the Lord with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." And so as we honestly end off this Lent season this week, let us just give all of our heart. Let's continue remembering in anything and everything that we're doing, whether it's the Bible studies that we're joining, whether it's serving others. Let us continue just praising God with all of our heart. Have a blessed Monday and a blessed rest of your week.